So let's go back. So just listen or watch what you're doing right here.
People don't know that they have invented something useful.
So what did you do right there? What strategy?
I read the word again.
Okay, so you went back and reread, right? So we have two strategies that involve going back and rereading, right? One is where you focus in on the word, and the other one is focusing on the entire sentence. Where do you think that one fell under?
Careful caterpillar.
So carefully reading the word, thinking about the word parts, figuring out if that word makes sense. Okay. So we'll put a check mark next to that. That was in the 5-second marker. So let's see if you actually read it. I think you did, but
Something useful.
yeah. So you ended up getting the word right, which is good.
Spencer Silver made a new glue. A new glue made that things stick together. However, it was too weak to hold things together for long. Spencer Silver stopped working on the glue.
So I want to stop right here because every time Spencer Silver comes up, you kind of hesitate. Why do you think you were hesitating on that? I mean, I think I know why, but I'm just curious to know what you think, or if you know why. You're not sure? So I think what you were doing then, I think the reason why Spencer Silver threw you for a loop is because it's not a very common name, especially the last name Silver. So I think every time you read Spencer Silver, you were stopping to make sure that was right, because it doesn't really sound right for someone's name, right? So that's what I think. But I was just asking you to kind of get what your opinions and thoughts were. So we'll never know since you're not exactly sure why, right? Okay, let's continue on here.
Arthur Fry knew about the glue and found a good use.
Okay, so let's go back on that.
Arthur.
Okay, so why do you think you reread so much on Arthur Fry?
Because
You're not sure? Okay. It's kind of like Spencer Silver, right? Arthur Fry doesn't really sound like a guy's name, right? It sounds like it could be made up, right? It's not a common name that we hear in stories or about nonfiction people, right? So I think you were just being overly careful in reading because it just doesn't sound right. It's not a name you come across, but we'll just check here.
Silver stopped working on the glue. Arthur Fry knew about the glue and found a good use for it. Arthur Fry always lost his place in the songbook at church.
Okay, so you kind of do it again. You slow down when you get to his name. So the names were kind of throwing you for a loop a little bit. So on Arthur Fry, that was at the 30-second mark. What strategy were you using? on Arthur Fry? Or do you need to go back and watch the film? Let's just go back and look at the first time you come in.
Working on the glue.
So what strategy we're using on the word Arthur?
Careful, careful.
Okay, a little bit. I'll put a check next to that one. But what else were you doing specifically? Let's watch it again. Specifically on the word Arthur.
Arthur.
What are you doing right there?
I was sounding it out.
You were sounding it out, but how were you trying to attack that word?
By looking at it.
Okay, what else? Did you kept saying R, like watch.
Arthur.
So what are you doing on that word? You're what?
Chunking the word and sounding it out.
Yeah, you're chunking the word into parts, right? Because even though it's Arthur, it's all one word. You were kind of going R. You were trying to chunk the word. So can we mark that down as a strategy that you were using? We totally can, because you were totally chunking Arthur into parts. I'm going to put used on the word Arthur. So let's continue until you get to the end.
Fry knew about the glue and found a good use for it.
Okay, you do something right there on use. I just want to touch base on it. What do you do?
A good use for.
What did you do right there?
I thought it was use, but it didn't make sense.
Good. That's good. You said use, and then you realized it didn't make sense in the sentence, right? So what strategy would that be? That's like what? Try and line, because we're looking at the whole sentence? Good. So I'm just writing down what you said. I'm saying Nyla changed the word because it didn't make sense in the sentence. So I'm not sure if we talked about that last time, but you're doing something when all these strategies, you're doing something that really doesn't pop up on the strategy in terms of decoding, but I think we talked about it last time. What is it that you do really good while you're reading? I think last time we called it something with an M, if I look through your folder. Yeah, I did mark it down. It starts with an M. You monitor. Is it ringing a bell?
No.
Okay. You do a really good job. I noted it in your other reading that we went over in your file. I'll even show you where I marked it. So I marked it right there. It says monitor for meaning. Okay, you do a really good job of monitoring for meaning. What I mean by that is while you're reading, when things don't make sense or you come across a problematic word, you're very good about monitoring your own meaning. Like, for example, when you change that word right there in that sentence, as you're reading, you're monitoring whether things make sense or not. And that's a really good thing. A lot of kids aren't able to do that, especially when they're decoding the words or having breakdowns with some of the more complex text, but you're able to still monitor and take in what you're reading as you're reading. That's a really hard skill, Nyla, and I'm really glad that we've seen it the last 2 times, because that's something that I can't teach you. You either have it or you don't, and if you don't, we can practice it, but you have it naturally, which is a really, really good thing. So you use 3 strategies, which is kind of what you did last time. So on the decoding strategies, there's 7 different strategies possible, and you've got a pretty good arsenal in your toolbox. So you're doing really good things, right? We've talked about that before, how it's not just about how many words. Like, you got probably in this cold read, you got midway through the pack close to about 75 words. But we can argue that even though you didn't get very many words per minute, you're using all these strategies when you come across problematic areas, which is what good readers do, right? So, in my opinion, this is a really good reading. Do you feel like that is too? In what way? Like, when you watch it, why do you think you did a good job? Right, you sound out, you reread, you monitor for meaning. So what are you using to help you along the way? You're using multiple strategies, right? That's a good thing. All right, we are going to shut this down for today. I'm going to go ahead and file this in your folder. There you are. And then we're going to start practicing it. So when I see you on Wednesday, we're going to start practicing this passage, so that you can move on to the next one, right? All right, now you are free to go. Thank you.